I grew up in the, no pain, no gain, just push, and that's what I thought. And the other that really, I think, was an aha moment, which was during my first book, is I got to interview a guy named Matt Billingsley, who is a world-class drummer who's now the drummer for Taylor Swift. And it was one of my first big interviews where I'm like, this is awesome, let's go. And I'm like, just tell me about what it's like to be on stage with, 100,000 screaming people and you doing your thing. And he starts walking me through how he's preparing. And as I'm listening to this, all I'm thinking in my mind is like, this is how I would mentally prepare for a race.
What was he saying?
Well, the thing that struck me is he said, I don't really drum much before the concert. He said, I already know how to drum. What I'm doing is, first I'm getting my body loose. I'm going through all these, stretching and things to get my body feeling good. And then I'm getting my mind right, which is, just rehearsing the beginning of a couple of different songs so that I can get in that groove and the state of performance that I need to get in. And he walked me through all that, and I said, this is the same kind of stuff that I do for a race. And what it made me realize is that performance is performance.
So performance means the thing that you have to do is the thing that you have to do, whether it's an interview or a date or a presentation or work or stepping onto a track and running in the state championship.
Yeah.
That's the thing you have to do. But the thing that comes before it, what is that, Coach?
It's setting up your environment well.
Okay.
So what that means is, you prime yourself to perform. This is why athletes put on their special race day shoes. They put on their jersey. Matt had the drumsticks that he used for, concert times. He's got everything lined up where this is what it's going to be. I put myself in the environment that's going to invite the action that I want to take. It's setting your mindset right. What am I trying to do? Am I seeing this as an opportunity to take on? Or is this thing that is causing this overwhelming anxiety or feeling like a threat? And I think what I realized is not just from Matt's story, but also others, is it's the same stuff. As I said, my wife's a teacher. Early in her career, she was a world-class runner. She represented the U.S. at a half marathon world championships.
No big deal.
No, she's. But
you two are gonna have really fast kids. You know that?
Yeah, don't put the pressure on our 2-year-old now.
Sorry.
But what I realized is that, again, when she got into teaching, she takes the same mindset. She's like, I want to be great at this. And what you realize is okay, what does that take? Consistently showing up, putting in the training, being prepared for the next day, and priming yourself, okay, how am I going to get into the mindset where I am enthusiastic and energetic? Because kindergartners, guess what? You gotta keep their attention. And you can't do that by just walking in the door and being like, okay, I'm here, let's talk about our colors and ABCs or what have you. You've got to think about the tactics that you're going to use.
You know what I love about what you're saying, Coach? Is that I think we get so obsessed about the performance or the thing that we have to do at work or the thing that we have to do at school or the way that it's going to turn out or the result that we don't take the time to think about the environment or the steps leading up to the thing that actually allow you to step on the field of life and do the thing.
Who do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as? That's it.
Is that what you ask the people you coach? Who do you want to be?
Absolutely. Because here's the thing is, and this is something else that people often don't get, is if you look at some of the elite performers, is that who they are on game day when they step out on the field is a little bit different than who they are at home.
How so?
So I'll give the example of Aaron Judge, the baseball player for the Yankees. Is he puts it like this: is on the field, I want to be 99, which is his number. 99, I'm paraphrasing, is aggressive. He plays hard. He wants to win. When I take that jersey off, I'm no longer 99, I'm Aaron. Aaron gets along with his family. He doesn't need to be hyper competitive at everything. He can let things go. Again, I'm paraphrasing there. But you see that all the time with athletes, because what happens is, like, we all have like kind of different states we can get into.
Even just that invitation, coach. Who do you want to be? It's a way that you can snap yourself into a moment of intentionality to basically, who do I want to be in the interview? Who do I want to be today at work? Who do I want to be when I show up at that parent-teacher conference? And by asking yourself that, I would imagine that's sort of part of the mental toughness, because you're cueing your mind, right, to start to think about these things.
You're spot on. Who do you want to be in this situation? And I think too often we don't put the thought and care to align ourselves with that action.
When you were in high school, you as a elite runner came extremely close to breaking the 4-minute mile, which is a goal that you had forever. And the fact that you missed it by a second haunted you on one hand. But that failure also has fueled your life's work. What did not reaching that goal teach you about life and how you coach other people when it comes to mindset and performance?
At that time, I think in the history of the U.S., only 5 high schoolers had broken the 4-minute barrier. So it was something that basically never happened. And I came just shy. And I still can picture it to this day. There's 4 laps around the track. Every lap needs to be under a minute. So you're literally watching the clock, and you're seeing it, and you're like, I'm still under. And going into that last 100 meters, I can see that clock and realizing, oh no, I'm gonna be right at it or just shy. And then I remember crossing that line. There was like 30 seconds before the results come out. I'm staring at the results board, and then I see myself 4 minutes and 1 second. And it's just devastating, because you see this thing that is your goal. It was literally written on the wall of my high school bedroom, where this is the thing that I'm going to do, that is going to define myself. I didn't care about anything else in high school. Nothing. My parents couldn't get me to care about anything except running. And I fell short. And for a while, I think that got to me. I couldn't do it. I put everything into it and found out that I wasn't good enough. Everything I learned about performance came as a result of being like, okay, let's analyze this. Let's figure out, how do we get on the other side of feeling this ultimate failure and making it into something worthwhile and good. And that's where my search for understanding the mental side of sport came from. If I didn't let go and pull the other way just enough, I wasn't going to be able to fulfill my potential, because every race was going to feel like life or death, and it did. We all have our 4-minute miles. We all have those things where we create that story in our head where it's like, oh, this is what I care about deeply. This is what I'm obsessed with. And we can't, because we care about it. We think that if we just let go a little bit, that means, that means I'm weak. That means I'm not all in. That means that I'm not actually striving for that. But what it actually means is it allows that inner game to flourish, because our brain goes like, okay, yeah. Like, the 4-minute mile matters. Like, getting that job, selling this many books, whatever, it matters. Like, let's be real. But it can't be the only thing. We've got to have something else pulling in the other direction.
I absolutely love this, because you also say that the inner game is not about, like, checking boxes. That it's the process of chasing goals. And why does tying the achievement or landing that job or getting into that medical school or being married by this date or having that car that you drive, why does those things on the outside actually end up screwing you over.
What happens is when we tie our identity to that external pursuit, it makes us fragile instead of resilient. Because our brain goes, if I don't get this goal, then it literally is life or death. I am not worth anything. We don't perform best in that situation. We need to take a little bit of the pressure off. We need to have that robustness where you realize that I am secure in who I am. In win or lose, it might sting, but I'm still who I am. I'm still surrounded by those who love and support me. They're still gonna be here. And that's where we perform best at, because we get to take those risks instead of feeling like, oh gosh, here it is, I'm gonna fall short again. Brain freaks out.
You know, there's super fascinating research in your book that I think is really important to read right now, because I was really surprised by this. And it goes to this point because, again, I think it's super counterintuitive to think, okay, the world's top performers, whether it's in business who you're coaching or it is the world's most elite athletes, they're maniacally focused. They're 1000% disciplined. It's hustle. They're focused on the Super Bowl. They're focused on this thing. The research actually shows the opposite. And I'm reading from Win the Inside Game, page 90. This is research you write about from Michigan State University. I was blown away with this. That they looked at over 100 years of Nobel Prize winning scientists. And it turned out that what these Nobel Prize winning scientists did in their downtime away from the lab may have proved vital. The distinguished scientists, check this out, were 22 times more likely to perform, sing, or act, 12 times more likely to pursue creative writing, and about 7 times more likely to participate in crafts like sculpting, painting, or glass blowing. Whereas their less accomplished peers were more likely to be entirely focused on their scientific research. And so this research basically, as you write in your book, is that going all in and attaching who you are to one achievement or to the fact that you're the chief resident or you're married to so-and-so or you drive this singular focus actually hinders us.
It does, and it runs counter to just about everything we're told.